there, welcome to Nutrition with Lauren. Today we will be making a Swiss chard, quinoa, and apple salad in celebration of National Apple Month, which is October. So the first ingredients that we have here, we have a bunch of chard. I always say that it's best to buy organic chard because it is on that Dirty Dozen list. It tends to have more pesticides than other fruits and veggies. So definitely want to buy organic chard. We have 2 shallots here, 2 organic apples. They're also on that Dirty Dozen list. You want to buy organic apples whenever possible. We have 2 cups of quinoa. I chose red quinoa because I like it adds a nice color to the dish. We have a quarter of a cup of raisins, a quarter of a cup of walnuts, 2 tablespoons apple cider vinegar, and we're also going to use a little bit of extra virgin olive oil. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to add just a small amount of olive oil to our hot pan. Just a little bit there, just about a teaspoon. And then we're going to add in the shallots. Like I said, 2 shallots here, just finely chopped up. Shallots add a really nice sweetness to this dish, and they tend to be a little bit easier to chop than your traditional yellow onions. So we're going to scrape all of that out there. Then I'm going to crank up the heat a little bit. Mix those up. Now this is going to take about 8 to 10 minutes for these shallots to brown. We're also going to add in the stems of the Swiss chard. These add a great crunch to the salad. So add those in. Now we're going to wait about 8 to 10 minutes. Okay, so we can see here that the shallots and the stems of the chard have really browned and it smells delicious. So now we are ready to add the Swiss chard into our pan here. Just gonna dump that in there. You want to make sure you slice the chard very thin. It makes it easier to cook and it's easier to eat. And after we add the Swiss chard, this should be enough for now, we're going to add in the 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar, which is a great condiment to have in your pantry at all times. It's an anti-inflammatory and has a multitude of health benefits. You can add all of this Swiss chard in. Like I said, 1 bunch of Swiss chard here, organic whenever possible. So now we're going to add in those 2 tablespoons of the apple cider vinegar. It helps break down the Swiss chard, helps it cook a little bit. Move that around a little bit. You'll start to notice that the Swiss chard will turn a bright green color. Swiss chard is nutritionally very similar to kale. It is packed with vitamins and minerals, vitamins A, vitamins K, vitamin C, and loaded with fiber. It's a great way to switch up your greens routine. I know a lot of people tend to stick to romaine or iceberg lettuce, which is okay, but usually with greens you find that the darker the color, the more nutritious they are. Next we're going to add in those 2 apples. Like I said, they're organic. You want to do organic apples whenever possible. We're going to add in those to our dish here. And the last thing we're going to add is the raisins. You could use raisins for this recipe, you could do cranberries, you could do dried cherries, whatever you prefer. All those there. Gonna mix this up a little bit. It's already starting to smell delicious. So a lot of times when you're making a salad, you don't remember to add something like a grain. It's really important to add quinoa or brown rice, millet, any sort of whole grain to a salad to give that salad a little bit more of a balance. Quinoa is an excellent option when cooking because it is a complete protein, it's a whole grain, it's packed with vitamins and minerals, and it's delicious. It's similar to a rice, but it's actually a seed. It's in that seed family. It comes in, you can get white quinoa, you can get red quinoa, you can get rainbow quinoa. Like I said, I like to do the red quinoa because I think it adds a pretty color to this dish. You can buy quinoa in the package here, dried, like what I used, and when you're cooking this, what you're going to want to do is put this in a stovetop 2 cups of water, 1 cup of quinoa, and let it simmer for 15 to 20 minutes. You know that the quinoa is cooked once those white tails begin to show. So you can see here that these white tails of the quinoa are showing. That's how you know the quinoa is cooked. One of my favorite ways to buy quinoa is frozen. You can buy this at Stop & Shop, Shaw's, Whole Foods, Trader Joe's. It makes life so easy to be able to buy a bag of quinoa, just throw it in the microwave for 3 minutes, and it's ready. Making a big batch of that on Sundays to throw into, make for your meals for the week, it goes a long way. And it's a great way to ensure that you're getting your necessary whole grains. So we're going to want to keep this cooking until that Swiss chard starts to wilt. So I can see some of it is wilting here, but this is probably going to need another minute or so. And this is great. The apples are going to taste, they're going to have a great sweetness from that shallot, from the apple cider vinegar. And same with the raisins. They add a great sweetness to this dish. And once this is cooked, we're going to add some walnuts on top. I'm just choosing raw walnuts because they tend to be a little better for you than, you know, roasted walnuts, which tend to have more calories in them. So this looks like it's ready to go. You can see that the Swiss chard has really wilted a bit, and it's also shrunk down. I'm sure you have noticed that when you're cooking any sort of green, whether it be kale or spinach, it tends to shrink down. That's why it's always good to buy a little bit more than what you think you need. So I'm going to turn off our heat here. I'm going to add the kale into our bowl to assemble this delicious quinoa chard apple salad. Like I said, quinoa makes a delicious base. I'm going to add that there. Next comes our delicious chard apple raisin concoction. Put this over here. Okay, so we can see there those beautiful colors and flavors that this is going to add. It smells, I can smell that vinegar, that apple cider vinegar. It's just another way for us to celebrate National Apple Month. So we're going to add this. And then we're going to top with those walnuts here. Mix this together. And you have a beautiful salad that will be makes a great dinner if you pair with the protein, and also holds very well if you decide to bring the leftovers for the next day's lunch. And there you have it. Our Swiss chard quinoa apple salad.